This is What's Grief Amongst Friends, a podcast. Hi, friends. It's so nice when people reach out to you and want to be a part of your podcast. And it's exciting. And I'm so fortunate to be able to welcome here today Tameka Bennet. Tameka is going to be sharing with us her grieving process that she has had to go through dealing with losing her partner. It's so incredibly sad and unfortunate because he was her partner, but he was my son's best friend. And it was just like, so without further ado, we're going to welcome Tameka. And I pray that this story is able to resonate with someone and help someone get through their grieving process. This is What's Grief Amongst Friends. Welcome, Tameka.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so fortunate that you decided to do this. Thank you so much. It's something that people don't often think of. You know, we go through life every day. Of course, we all are living our own lives and moving towards our own destinies. But we don't often realize that other people are going through such devastating situations. And for you to be strong enough and have the courage to come on and share it with everyone, I am so appreciative. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. But more importantly, thank you for giving me the space.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because I haven't really had a space like this in the 15 years that he has been gone. So, and then to share it, that's something beautiful and amazing. And I really do just appreciate that.
Oh, okay.
So I do. So I don't want to say it's weird, but when Otis passed away, at that time, we transitioned into a best friend union more so than a partner. So we broke up months before him passing, close to a year. But leading up to the second time he was sick, we made amends and we decided that we were going to be in this as parents before anything else. When we ended, it was really ugly for a short amount of time. And then he was diagnosed with cancer for the second time. When that diagnosis hit, I thought that he was going to pull through like he did the first time. And as days kept going, he was getting more sick and really weak, and just that transition of no one being able to do anything, I think made us realize okay, we don't know what this is gonna look like. How can we go about making this really work? And the last 5 months, Otis and I would just go to his house every day after I got out of work. We would go to the mall together. I think I was really I want my son to have some kind of memory of his father. And I also thought that just us being there, he would find the strength to actually fight like he did the first time. So for those who don't know, I met Otis when I was 18. We were together only for a year. I found out I was pregnant when I was 19. And then when I was 6 months pregnant, we found out he had a very rare form of Ewing sarcoma. Most Black people don't get this cancer. It's a tumor that formed in the stomach. So becoming a mother and him fighting the cancer, and me being young, I had my son 20. It was really complicated. That for that little bit of time, which seemed forever in that moment, it was unbearable in a sense, right? I'm young, I just became a mom, my partner has cancer. It just a lot of uncertainty. I remember being that young and just praying every day, please God, just give my son's father 5 years. Just give him 5 years of life so my son can at least know who his dad is. And then he beat it. Unfortunately, when those 5 years were up, that cancer returned with a vengeance. And it came fast and it came on strong. and he lost his life to it. So that is like the story in a nutshell. I've never said it out loud. I don't think I've ever communicated with anyone how I would pray about just giving him 5 more years, and just like where I was at in life. So I think I remember, I would never forget it, like his parents knew the second time it came back. They were told like a year before, they don't know how long he had to live. They did not tell anybody else. So they were just basically waiting for that time. And I remember going to New York for Memorial Day weekend with my cousin Michelle, and we stayed in like this beautiful room near the train station. I don't know, this room was really expensive at the time. And we're enjoying ourselves, and then my Aunt Gina calls, and she was like, do you know Otis is in the hospital? And I was like, I just left him Friday. Like, he's not in the hospital. I know he's sick, but he's not in the hospital. She's like, well, he's on his deathbed.
This is how you get the information.
This is how the information was given to me. So I was like, I know he's sick, but he's not on his deathbed. And I was just in denial. So that ride home from New York felt like forever. And then showing up in the hospital, just being so young and so naive, I was like, isn't there something that the doctors can do? Like, they're doctors. Listen, they can save him.
You're not young and you're not naive. It's just human nature. You just wish, you just desire for things not to be that way.
Yeah.
So it's not your age, believe you me, because I'm much older than you, and it happened to me much later in life, and I just wanted a different outcome.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Oh, thank you.
I totally get it, yes.
And his dad put me out and was like, we knew, and we just did not want you guys to worry. So he said there's nothing that they can do. So for for the next 10 days, I was there consistently.
Yeah.
And then, like, the last 2 days, I think I was so in disbelief that I was trying to find, like, some normalcy in that chaotic time. And I was on my way down to the hospital, like, the day before he passed, and my stomach hurted, and I, like, went to my grandma's house, and I never made it. And I get a phone call the next day. Like, Otis passed away at 7-something this morning, and that was just different. That was the first time, like, after I got the phone call, I made my way down to the hospital, and I saw his body, and I just said a prayer, and I was just like, God, I thank you for the time that you gave me with this man. And my life was never the same after that.
I know.
So, and it is weird. Like, after someone passes away, you want everyone to show up and be there and, like, stop what they're doing because your life stopped. But no one can, like, feel what you feel. And life for everyone else continues to go on. And I do remember people asking me if I was okay, and phone calls. But beyond that first conversation, there wasn't much follow-up. So because I saw everybody else living, I was like, okay, I have to live. And it's weird, right? I keep saying it's weird, but it's thinking back. I remember being in the car with my partner, the partner I'm with now, and I was like, my son's father just passed away. I'm like, how do I go on? And he was like, what are you asking? Like, what do you mean? How do you go on? He's like, you just put your head down and you work through life and you just keep on going. And for the following up until this point, like, that's how it's been. So have I ever really dealt with the grief? Honestly, I haven't. I just kept going. And then just, like, trying to find the light in this very dark place. And sometimes the light looks way more brighter and way more beautiful than others, but for the most part, I am I have not processed that.
Okay.
So, grieving looks different. And I think I'm ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared of it. It's very, like, it's scary. Because, like, what that outcome look like? Like, after I have, like, healed and forgiven myself for not grieving, like, who will I become?
Mm-hmm.
Has been my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this is, like, my first initiative into, like, really, like, taking the space. And, like, I always worked 2 jobs, or if I wasn't home, I'm, like, on vacation. I am, like, really good at, like, just distracting myself to get away from
Mm-hmm.
that person who has lost someone at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing is, like, after I lost him, I lost so many childhood friends.
Mm.
So the death just kept on coming. And then finally it calmed down. And then it started up again. And then it calmed down. So I was just like, I just got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really kept my head down. And now I'm at that place where I just can't keep my head down anymore. Mm-hmm. I have to know what the other side is like.
Yeah. 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 And the thing about it is when you hide from grief,
Mm-hmm.
when you ignore it, when you determine inside of yourself that it's not going to take a hold of you, you're going to take a hold of life and keep on moving,
Mm-hmm.
it's sitting here waiting for you.
Yes. And if it didn't show, so if it doesn't show up in one way, it's going to manifest itself in another.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm in a relationship and we love each other, but do I give my relationship 100%? No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared of that.
Mm-hmm.
Do I, like, so it's like there's so many barriers that I have created by not processing
Mm-hmm.
the grief.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that and then knowing that I have to act on that is something that I'm like, okay, I made it to 42.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going to die anyways, so I really have to process it in this lifetime. And that is the worst way to think about anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it has been on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're all just going to go anyways. So do I have to process this grief? But then it's like, well, do you want to know what or who you are without that weight?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think, yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times I think, no, I don't. But I also do know, like, in not processing it, my son, who lost his dad at 5,
Mm-hmm. also
also lost a huge part of me because I couldn't be there for him because I simply just did not know how.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me. I know it bothers him. And just trying to find out, like, well, where do I start has been a thing. I know that you just lost
Mm-hmm.
your life partner.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you?
Horrible. Horrible. Oh, geez. There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him.
Mm-hmm.
I put on some lip gloss today. You guys aren't used to me with lip gloss on, but I put on some lip gloss today. And I went to go and give him a kiss. And then I just said, oh, no, I don't want to mess up the picture. Because the picture has all kinds of lip prints on it. Except I didn't want to put a stain on it. I mean, I have Amazon on my TV. And it has Amazon Photos, so if the TV is paused for too long, it just cycles through his pictures. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are all kinds of lip prints all over my TV screen. Oh my God, I miss him so much. It's just ridiculous. I just find it so encouraging and such a blessing that you were able to ask God for 5 years and he gave it to you.
Yeah.
Unflinchingly. I mean, do you know how strong your faith is and how much of a connection you have with him and how much he knew.
Yes.
Anything before that 5 years was not going to be good. And he blessed you.
He did bless
with
me.
your desire. And that's just awesome.
I think about that and I always think that it was selfish, right?
Oh, you're doing the opposite of what I would have thought.
Yeah.
You're finding it to be selfish because you asked for the 5 years, which is incredible in its own self.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that he complied. And
there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful for that, right?
You know?
I think when I say selfish, I think that praying to myself is something that I should have shared with Otis.
Oh.
I should have shared that with Otis.
Okay.
I continue to pray for you.
Yes.
I only asked for 5 years.
Yes.
But it's your life. What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want this to look like?
Yeah.
And because I did it.
Okay.
I think that's the selfish piece.
Okay.
But God really came through and was like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop in the bucket. Yeah.
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 But
to him, but to you, it was a lifetime because
yes.
Your son was able to share those 5 years with him.
He was.
And he doted on him. Oh my God, he doted on him.
And then
it was a beautiful, beautiful sight.
Yeah.
Beautiful sight.
Yeah.
Beautiful sight. Oh my goodness.
And they're twins. So
they are absolutely twins. I went into Target around Christmas time a couple of years ago. And this young man kept looking at me, kept looking at me. And then finally he said, "You're Mike's mom."
Oh my God.
And I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "How do you know?" And he had this mask, this face mask on. And he pulled it down and I was like, "Oh my God, Odie!"
Oh my God, yeah.
He looked just like him and oh my God. Oh my God.
Same mannerisms.
Like, yes.
Yes. So
yes.
Like, when Otis was alive, Otis would always wear hats, right? And little Otis would always wear hats too.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Otis did not, since his father passed away, I think he wore a hat one time since then. Mm-hmm. And I don't know like what it is, but he will not put on a hat to save his life. And I'm just like, I wonder
if that has something to do with it.
Yeah, if that has something to do with it.
Mm.
It's the weirdest thing. And I'm just like, you look just like your dad with a hat on. I mean, you look just like your dad, but with a hat on,
just
oh
like
my
cements
God.
it. Yeah. No, I remember he would come and visit my son, and he would bring Otis, and my granddaughter would be there, and we would, oh my goodness, we'd have a cookout, or we'd have, like, I had bought this pool, and they would, splash in the pool, or we would always try to find something for them to do and stuff, and Otis would just sit back and watch him and stuff. It was the cutest thing ever, but it's so funny. I mean, my son is a grown man, and he had a kid, or daughter, and, but it's just so funny to see Otis having been a little kid and then like growing up and having a kid, and the way that he treated his son and the way that it was just beautiful. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful.
Some really beautiful moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I would show up to Otis's house, and this is like when he was sick. And Otis would have like the same, they would coordinate, like unknowingly. Like I would come through the door and like Otis would have like red, black, and white that day. And my son would have on red, black, and white. Or something like blue and white. Or like, I was like, how do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm picking out the clothes, but like they really would match.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would be like,
Kismet.
Wow.
It really is.
Yeah. It was, Yeah. And that was something that was like noted. And that would not be like... I can't forget that. Yeah. It's just way too many times that it would happen. So, I don't know. It's just...
So, I currently go to a grief support group and for the loss of partners. Actually, I'm going to give you the information after this, but I'm also going to include it in on the end of the video. What would, I mean, we go through this book, we have these journals, and it's, to me, it's an awesome endeavor, because I've lost a lot of people. I mean, yeah, I lost my mom, I lost my son, I lost my stepson, I've lost a lot of people, but I've never lost a mate, a partner, a husband. And this book is helping me to grieve the loss, and it actually is helping. But my question to you is, do you have an idea of the Tameka after? And I can't say after grief, because grief never leaves you.
It never leaves.
But do you have a Tameka envision when you're like finalizing this journey of grief? And like I said, grief never leaves you. We're learning, and not everybody agrees with this, but we're learning how to make grief our friend, and that grief is love. When you're hurting behind losing someone, that means you love them.
Yeah.
And so you have to process it in a way that you understand, yeah, it hurts. It hurts and it sucks. But you're just like hurting because that loved one is not
They're
physically there with you. So acknowledging that grief will always be with us. What is it that you would like to see Tameka? Who is it that you would like to see Tameka as?
I think more, like I live in fear. So I think I would be more fearless.
Okay.
Like I'm, like again, like I said, my partner, we've been together. But like I hold a lot back. He holds a lot back. So I don't know, like, and it's going to sound crazy, but it's like, I don't know if we're going to like deal with the grief together, but it would have to be like to just get past who we've been. So I felt like, okay, so there's two different things, right? So I think Tameka, or dealing with the grief, would be a fearless person, right? I wouldn't hold back as much. I'm a crier. I'm a tear shedder. But I'm not a vulnerable person. I have like this beautiful facade where people think that like they're really connected and they're getting to me, and I'm just like, well, that's a piece of me. But like the whole me, I hold a lot back. And it's just like, I'm really good at creating barriers. So it's like that person to get past that. Like you probably be the one who show up and like unafraid to love. Because in order for you to actually love or experience life, you can't be scared to like share it. So it's like that person who's just like fearless. I think it was Paris who once said that when people pass away, they never really go because that energy is going to forever be with you. So whenever you find yourself missing them, just think about like the best moments that you share, because they're with you forever no matter what. And I think that helped like a little bit. Right? And I like try to like tell that to my son. Like your dad never really, I mean, he's not here in the physical, but you have memories, you have his love, you have, and because it happened like right when he's 5, he's like, I only remember a little bit. Yeah. I'm like, but you have like that love. I know it might feel like a void at times, but when I say your dad loved you, your dad really loved you.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So it's just, I think like, and also just showing up for my kids, showing up for people, not like getting past that barrier. It's a mental barrier, right? At this point. And just, it's a chain in a way. It holds me back from a lot.
Have you sought grief counseling?
No, but I have seen therapists who basically like male therapists too, and they're good therapists. I'm not knocking any of them, but they're like, well, basically they had that same take. That person is no longer here. plant a tree for them and just keep on going.
Listen, when I lost Maurice, it took me literally 9 to 10 years to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing I could do about it. It was just life. It's just what was happening at the time. And I saw a therapist, male,
Mm-hmm.
who spent 2 sessions talking about him losing his sister to a disease and what they did on the day or two before she died. And I sat here and watched this man for 2 sessions, and finally, when I came back to the place, he came out into the main section and he saw me and he says, "Oh, Marsha, I wasn't expecting to see you today." And I said, "Oh, I'm not on your calendar." And he was like, "You're not?" And I said, "No, I'm on her calendar." And he said, he had to think about it for a second, but he caught on and he was like, "Oh, she's very good. She's very good. You'll like her." And I said, "I hope so." Because I was not going back to that man. He was getting therapy. He was getting paid
for you to be the therapist.
For me to be the therapist. And I was like, no, I'm dying inside and you're sitting here telling me. And then I went and saw someone else. I saw this woman, the second person, and she was pretty good. She really was. But I only had so many sessions with them. Mm-hmm. So then after her, I saw another therapist who I feel helped me a lot. Mainly because people may not agree with me, but she would let me cry the whole 45 minutes. And I would just bawl.
But I feel like crying is a really good release, right? We estimate crying.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to cry.
Yeah. And she would just let me cry. She would just let me cry. Because at that point, really, realistically, there was nothing you could do for me or say to me. Mm-hmm. I was just devastated. And I mean, I had the people that came to me and says, well, God has him and he's in a better place and, all of these platitudes. And it just did nothing for me. I just wanted him. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. Maurice and I fought every day.
Yes.
About something or another, we fought every day. But he was still my child. Mm-hmm. He was still my baby. And I just couldn't imagine life without him.
Yeah.
Not every therapist is a good therapist. Sorry to say, it's just true. And there are some that are good therapists, but they may not have that chemistry or what you're looking for to help you through the situation. And then you every once in a while you find that diamond in the rough. Mm-hmm. Who can help guide you through the craziness that is grief. I saw someone for quite a while after Maurice died, and I saw them until they were no longer a part of the practice that I was going to. And so they were suggesting someone else who happened to be a man. And because of my experience with the other man, I just said no. So the next couple of years, I just had to deal with it on my own. And it was horrible because, it took literally years. And it was like at 9 or 10 years, I remember laughing out loud. And I stopped myself and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And that's when I realized I was shutting myself down. Yeah. Scared to move forward without him.
Yeah.
And that was horrible.
But that's a part of life, right?
Yes.
If you don't know how to process grief, that's what it comes out as.
Yes.
Shutting yourself.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So you saw someone for therapy, but they were telling you to plant a tree. Got that?
Yes. And let's not get it twisted. He was a very good therapist. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't good at handling grief. Mm-hmm. I think that's like something, it's its own entity that needs its own tools and own, because people process different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was he's like the dad I never had, right? Mm-hmm. And it's weird because my dad has never stopped and had a conversation about Otis passing with me. Oh. Still to this day.
I would probably say it's mainly because, in his eyes, it may be because you two weren't together as a couple in a relationship.
Yeah.
And you had moved on. So he probably never in a million years thought that it was affecting you the way that it did.
I mean, that's a different way to look at it, right? But I think just asking, like, how are you really doing? Like, I know you have this going on. I know that you have that going on. I know that you moved to Amherst. I know that you did this. But let's go back. You lost someone who I know you loved. How are you doing?
Now, I'm going to introduce you to this group.
Go ahead.
But part of the motto of the group is to be able to grieve your partner unapologetically. And unfortunately, most people don't want you to do that because it makes them uncomfortable. And them facing the fact that you're hurting and there's nothing that they can do about it. They don't want to deal with that. And it's unfortunate. But most people are that way. And that's probably a part of your dad also, is because he doesn't want to know his daughter's hurting.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to know you're hurting. He doesn't want to know that, because what can he do about it, really? Listen, yeah. But then that's going to make him uncomfortable.
But I think, like, that's a part of the whole, like, grieving thing, right? Like you said, making people unapologetic. Like, I'm grieving and you're just going to have to deal with it. And I think that level of just being there, right? Just listening, like, giving that space is a part of the process that is scary. So, like, yeah, that's that space that I have to just, like, not be afraid to address. You know, like, I can't force you to be there, but, like, this is something that, like, I need to make people uncomfortable. I've been too afraid to make people uncomfortable.
Well, how do you see that then? I mean, how do you broach it? How do you...
I don't have a clue. That's why I don't do it.
Oh. That's interesting.
That's why I do not do it. I feel like once I get the tools, though, I probably will do it. And not to make other people uncomfortable, but just so that I could, you know.
Just so that you can clear your psyche, so that you can clear your feelings. Absolutely. So, unabashedly unafraid. Again, I'm older. And I'm scared every single day. And that's why I'm saying you're covering so much, and this is awesome, because you're young and you've been going through this
It's only been 14.
14.
Okay. Yeah.
So you are revealing so much of how I'm feeling, and I hadn't even thought of it the way that you're revealing it. So fear, it's just there. I mean, I told everyone, Noah passed fast. He passed very, very fast. He passed too fast for me. I tell you, they gave him 12 months. He passed in 10 months, and it was too fast for me. And so when he passed, it's unfortunate, but the werewolves came out. And I told everyone, I am going to spend the next 12 months grieving. I'm not flirting. I'm not dating. I'm not hooking up. I'm grieving. And unfortunately, it went straight over, or they chose to ignore it, or whatever. So it's been a hectic, time since he passed away. And unfortunately, the majority of them are either friends of his or they knew him. It's just unbelievable. So, I say this to say, I gave myself a year, which means that January coming up will be my year of grieving. And then and I gave myself a year just so that I could process it. But I also am so glad I did, because there is that level of fear of, getting involved with someone else, and having always constantly thinking that you're going to have to deal with losing them too.
Oh, I hate to interrupt. I hate this thought process, but I'm going to jump in because, so before I got with Otis, I had boyfriend. And we were kind of I thought we were in love until I met Otis, and I was like, oh, this is what real love is, because this is mutual and it's amazing. So, oh goodness, I am revealing a lot. This is bad. I don't know. And okay, so he was in jail when Otis passed away. Only person, and I don't want to say only person, but he called from jail and was like, I love you and your son. I love you so much, and I love you unconditionally, and because of that, I love your son. How are you doing?
Oh.
Amazing person, right? He gets out of jail. We were just friends. And when I say we were just friends, Sunday come after church, he'll just be driving by my grandma's house. We'll go to brunch. I'm involved with someone, he's involved with someone, but we had a mutual respect for each other. And then he lost his life. Gun violence. And that, I think, really took me back. Because I was like, I can't deal with that. Just people pass away. So that is always going to be a fear, right? People that you love are just going to keep going. And it's how do you? But to open up and have it happen again, I think it's worth it though, right? I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know yet. 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 I don't. I can't. And I don't know that it is. No one's Noah.
Right.
No one is Noah. And Noah put up with a lot. And he was just who he was. And he, we went through a lot. And I don't know that anybody would put up with me the way that he put up with me. I don't know that I would put up with anybody who put me through the things that he put me through.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could ever give myself to someone wholly the way I gave myself to him. I don't know. And I'm not going to lie. I'm scared to even think about it.
And that's okay.
I'm scared to even think about it. And it's so unfortunate because these men who totally want to disregard my feelings or what I'm going through or what I endeavor to do with my life and try to insinuate themselves in my life and just push their agenda. It's just unbelievable. But they never ever, because they're so bent on their conquest and seeing things come through the way that they want them to come through, they're not even thinking of me and what I'm going through, number one. Number two, they're not even considering the fact that I've allowed myself a year to grieve, but that it may take longer. And that maybe once I'm near the ending of the grieving process in the way that it unfolds, maybe at that point I'm going to try to get to know me without Noah, me without, me at this age, me not having been out in the world for 25 years, me, there are so many things that have transpired since I started dating Noah 26 years ago. Almost, 27 years ago now, because 27 years ago. Catfishing. It's not brainwashing, but it's called something else. When they try to make you think that...
Not gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Okay.
So there's catfishing, there's gaslighting.
Narcissism.
There's a huge plethora of narcissists out here that just don't hear anything you say because they're so busy trying to think of a way to get their way in your life. So, I have to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
Post Noah. I have to figure out who I am in my mind. Mm-hmm. In my body. Well, spiritually, I know where I am, and I just strive to please God, and I strive to live my life accordingly. And so that makes me stronger with dealing with people who aren't there in that respect. Mm-hmm. But there are people that are there in that respect too, and they're just looking at a different agenda. It's scary.
I'm going to say that the people who are pushing themselves onto you are just not the people, right? So that, it makes it easier for you because it's just half these people don't cut, they couldn't respect you.
Okay. So you block them on your phone.
You block on everything.
They find you on Facebook.
Oh, you block them on everything.
So you block them on Facebook. They find you on TikTok.
You block them. When I say, when you block somebody...
So you have to block... it's like... One person I said, "Oh my God, you're resourceful, aren't you?"
No, you don't even respond.
And then they said, "Yeah." And then I said, "Blocked." It's just like, what is going on in your head?
So going forward, sorry to cut you off. Mm-hmm. When you block someone, you make sure you everything at the same time, mm-hmm. so they cannot you are non-existent to them, and that's not good. But that's one of my coping mechanisms. Mm-hmm. If I don't want to see it, if I don't want you to exist, block, 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 mm-hmm. block, block. You would have to send a pigeon, mm-hmm. and if you're not willing to do that, then
a pigeon. That was cute.
So,
but
yeah. But when people are really trying to invade your space, and they're disregarding everything, you have to really be quick with the blocking. Mm-hmm. That's so bad. But mm-hmm. it's also because you need time to really just process everything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
No, you're
Don't make me get into because it's just so many different versions of me, and then then there's the scary version but yeah, blocking. Mm-hmm. You have to everything.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying about my age. Like I said, you start out with, someone will call and say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I knew him, and we either went to school together, or we played football together, or we worked together, or whatever it is." And then, and it's so incredibly sad. It breaks my heart because these are all people that knew him. Mm-hmm.
Wait, have you ever said that? This breaks my heart that you're trying to get at me.
No, I haven't.
What?
No, it breaks my heart.
That's exactly this breaks my heart that you would try to
do this.
Yeah.
Oh, but then they guise it with, "Oh, well, no, we can go and get something to eat, or we can go out for a drink, or we can." No, we can't.
This breaks my heart.
Block. Yeah. So that there you go. Okay, so I was speaking of my age. See, you're younger. You know all of these different ways to deal with these things. So when you get the phone call initially is a sympathy call, mm-hmm. and you accommodate it. And then you get another phone call, which is a checkup on you. How are you doing? And you accommodate it. And then it gets progressively more bothersome. You know? So you block from the phone. I'm older, so I block from the phone.
And that's it.
And then next thing you know, you get the little ding, ding, ding friend request. Or you may have been friends and then you start getting the the messages and stuff like that. And then you block from there. But it doesn't, I'm older, so it doesn't, cross my mind that, block everything.
Everything.
No.
You are non-existent.
Right. But, these people are just like, it's funny now, once you block this, then they go on to the next platform. Then you block that, then they go. So there are people who are blocked across the board now. But yeah, it took me a minute to say, because I don't do it if you're not progressively, trying to insinuate yourself in my life.
What's really, I don't know, because I'm so weird. Like, to really know me, you'd be like, yo, you are just so different. Mm-hmm. Very awkward. My whole life. I think that I'm good at that. Mm-hmm. Like, sir, what are your intentions? Why do you keep checking up? Like, the first time was okay, the second time, all right, but this is the third time in 3 weeks, and it seems like you're becoming aggressive. Like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, like, just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. And if it's not something that is going back to, like, he really was my friend and I really do care and I don't want anything with you. If it's other than what I want to hear, then, sir, you can, welcome to the block list. Welcome to the 200 people who have them blocked.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much, yeah. Yeah, because I don't see it, we're headed into December, so now it's so funny. Because one guy did say, I need to be at the front of your brain, and I need to be the one you're thinking of. So yeah, block.
When I say everything, like, I would be like, I'm like to the extreme though. Mm-hmm. Like, even on my side, we are not talking to these people. Like, who's on your list? Block them. Like, I don't want these, but that's me being crazy sometimes.
No, you're being protective of your peace.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you learn from grief, the grief support group is you are the main one responsible for your peace.
Yeah.
So in order to protect your peace, you have to figure out what it is you're okay with dealing with. And like you say, whatever it is you're not, block it out.
Oh my, yes.
Block it out. So no, you're just protecting your peace. You're just protecting your peace.
Thank you.
Yeah. And why shouldn't you? It's yours.
It is mine, right?
It's yours.
Yeah.
So.
And in my mind, I have all this other fear that I have to deal with. So I don't need you to Yeah. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's your responsibility. You are the only one in control of that.
Right.
So yeah, you have to be all right with how your life is going. Mm-hmm. You have to be all right with it. So, wow. Okay. So,
I just threw you off track. It was supposed to be about grief, and I'm like, girl, fear is a real thing. It is crippling. It is.
But that has to do with grief also.
It does.
Because
that's what it stems from, right?
Exactly.
In my case, that's what it stems from.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so let me ask you this. You spoke on your father, but and you did speak that there were a couple of phone calls and that your friend who is no longer with us was very supportive. But did you find support from others to no?
So we were a real tight-knit group, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just me and Otis. It was me, Otis, Mike, April, Nene, Brittany, Paris. That's how Otis and I got together. Mm-hmm. Paris is a person who actually hooked us up. Okay. And I think she did it indirectly. So she was weaved in there, and then that extended to many other people. So once he passed away, I think they were handling it themselves, but they did not know how to be there for me. Mm-hmm. Again, their lives kept going. And they just were like, well, you kind of do, like, they probably took that approach. Like, you are with someone. And, the checkups
just
don't
so that you're aware.
Go ahead.
Michael's still dealing with it.
Yeah.
He's still dealing with it. So, yeah, you're not alone. He just doesn't know how to, console you. But you're not alone. He's still dealing with it.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought that oh my God. I will say one thing about Mike. He has never missed a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He has been there whenever I needed him to be there. So that speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm.
But calling just the acts, not enough, right? And then I sit with myself sometimes and I go, well, I can't put my expectations on other people. So what I expect people to do, one, they didn't know him because I didn't voice them. But two, those are my expectations. Like, I expected you to be there a little bit more. I expected you to check in with me. But it has to be like that. A couple people who I could just unload on.
And unfortunately, it's always just a couple.
Yes. So what's really, our rest in peace to Evan. The person I think who stepped up the most, right, was Evan when Otis died. And this is my hairdresser. So Otis passes away. I have to go buy an outfit. My hairdresser comes with me. And then it's like a couple months later, I remember I just walked into his shop and I just started crying.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like so used to me just being so stern, and I'd never really shown emotions, that they're like, well, what do we do with this?
Mm-hmm.
But then like afterwards, him checking up, like, yeah. So, I don't think there's too many follow-ups. People don't really follow up. I actually make it a point that, like, when people pass away, I wait until after people are buried. And then I go, most people show up between that period, from the day that they pass away to the funeral day, right? The hurt doesn't kick in until
everything calms down.
Yes, calms down about 2 or 3 months after, when you're really like, I can't pick up my phone and call this person. This person will never hug me again. I will never hear this person's voice again. And then when that settles in and everybody has returned to their lives, that's when I try to pop in and say, how are you? I know this happened. Because people don't think about like the aftermath. They're just there. And then after that, they expect you to just keep on
moving. And unfortunately, with our culture, we're encouraged to just keep on moving. Keep on moving.
Yeah.
Black people don't have mental health issues. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Black people don't need grief support. That's a lie. Black people don't launder their business out in the street. That's a lie. We need help just like everybody else. We're human beings and we suffer and we hurt and we need help.
Yeah.
And we need help. Yeah. So,
that is true. In my family, I was the first one to be like, yeah, I'm going to go see my therapist today. And they'd be like, my girlfriend's like, therapist? What do you need that for? She would used to be like, just go to the pastor and pray. And I just be like, not like that. But some things the pastor can't, like, it's okay. Like, I believe that you should go to church, right? But it's okay to outsource some things. So, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you crazy is not seeking the help. So I think that's how I've been coping with it. But again, I never really fully grieved.
Yeah.
And just knowing, like, the difference. Like, okay, I recognize this. I see where it's showing up. How do I act on that? Is where I think I am. I can't say I think I'm here now. So this, like, opportunity, I was like, oh my God, it couldn't be any more perfect. So that's where I am.
Yeah. So there's a person out there. They totally resonate with everything you're saying. They've gone through a situation very similar to yours, and they need help. What is your advice to them?
Get in where you fit in. For a very short amount of time, there was a sister circle in Springfield. And just having that space opened up space a little bit. I can't say a lot of it, but like I was able to be vulnerable there. And I was like, oh, I can be vulnerable. Like, But outside of the circle, I don't know how. But just allowing that space. Like, so find people who really just have, like, are able to hold space, I think. But then just, like, I'm a distractor. Like, squirrel. I'm always constantly just trying not to sit with myself. But I think, like, holding space for yourself also. So I would say, like, give yourself a try. Right? And just recognize and, like, think of, like, what is it that's going to come next? What do you want your life to look like? Because I think about it now, before I did, where I was like, oh, a trip to Florida sounds fun. Or, you know, like, having X amount of dollars in my account looks good. These are just distractions, so I wouldn't have to deal with the hurt that has been within. And I just would say sit with yourself. Sit with yourself, sit with God, find, like, a safe space, and just keep going, but with grace. Because I don't do the strong thing at all. Like, when people be like, you gotta be strong, I'm like, I'm not. I'm not saying I'm not strong. Like, I am okay with saying, like, I can't handle this right now. It's too much for me. I don't want to fight everything. I'm not a fighter. But to get to the other side, to be able to actually love authentically is where I want to be. And I know that there's a barrier between that and me. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Not to go into detail, but how is your son handling this?
Mentally, he's not doing as good as I would want. If I'm being honest, he's not having because he lost both parents. He lost both parents. I would create these really, like, big group outings where, like, Otis, I don't think I gave him a chance to actually get to know me. So, like, whenever it was supposed to be our time, it would be, like, the whole family time. And that took away, because now he's like, I don't get to just be with my mom. Like, I have to see my grandma, my niece, my cousin. So, like, everyone that was robbing us of our one-on-one, let's get to know, I love you time, right? So I think in many ways it just feels like June 13th, 2008, not only did my father pass away, but my mom forgot how to show up. I have this conversation often now where my little cousins were like, you were such a good mom in the beginning. Like, you would pick us up, we would go to parks, you would be there. Like, Otis fell, you always had a first aid kit, you would just be there. And then all of a sudden, like, the park trips got more sporadic, and then, like...
But you have to give yourself grace.
I'm trying.
You really have to give yourself grace. You endured a horrible situation. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but they're kids. Yeah. And they don't understand the magnitude of what it is that you're going through, you know? And so even little Otis, he doesn't understand. He lost his dad.
Yeah.
But he's not thinking about how you lost his dad.
Yeah.
He's here. You once had feelings for this man. And give yourself some grace.
I'm working on it.
Give yourself some grace because wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But you got to give it to them. They're honest in their intuition. they're like, hey, we're gonna let you know.
Yes,
this affects all of us.
I had one of my cousins who were like, Mika, you used to never swear. You used to be so nice. All of a sudden you're swearing. I was like, yeah, well, I lost it. Like, somebody passed away. And that was, like, my only response. Like,
yeah.
And, like, so that...
Listen, I can't tell you enough how, in your youth, compared to my elderly status, how much you are saying stuff that resonates so deep with me. I mean, this past year, that's, whenever someone says something out of line to me and I say, I lost my husband!
Yes.
Like, don't sit here and hold me to your I always tell, I call him Andre, but you call him Mike. Don't sit here and put me in your box.
Yeah.
Don't contain me. I'm a human. I'm a person. I have different, levels of thinking and feeling, and don't put me in a box, and so yeah, I do that to people. It's like, I lost my husband of 25 years. Cut it out. But I'm laughing about it right now, but heartbreaking how people want to pressure you to be who they want you to be when you're going through such a devastating loss. Such a devastating loss.
And I think people have a hard time of understanding how, although we did go through the same thing, we're going to handle it differently. So if they're able to like carry it a little bit better, they expect you to carry it a little bit better, not realizing that there's 8 billion people on this earth who are going to go through things and handle them and process them completely different.
I used to be a part of this group, actually after Maurice passed away, and it was called Moms Against Violence, and we were all in there because our children were murdered. And I don't know, there may have been 8 or 12 of us, I don't remember, interchangeably. And it's just amazing how we would sit there and describe certain situations, and someone would be like, well, and all good, and it's like, chill, we're all here for the same reason. Yeah. But everybody's loss is more grievous than yours. Everybody's going through something more heinous than you are, and it's like, no, we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah.
We all lost somebody. Our hearts are all broken, and we just need to be there for each other. Yeah. But I ended up having to drop out because it wasn't what I needed at the time. It just wasn't. So, bring it up again. The group that I go to now, the sport group, it's amazing because
I love that transition. You're like, it's amazing. Go ahead.
Because no matter what we're going through the week, when we sit down and we start sharing, we're all going through the same stuff. Yeah. I kid you not. It's like someone may come in and they may, because packing up belongings is devastating all by itself. And someone may say, yeah, I just finally got a box and started putting stuff in it. And then we're like, oh my God, so did I. Oh my God. So it's just like, no matter what. Someone said, I think it's time that I go and get the headstone. But it's just like, it just makes it so real. And I went and pulled up a picture that I took of Noah's headstone, and I was like, I just got this. And I said, because that made it real. It's like, until you get that, you're like, maybe I can squeak by without it really hitting home. Yeah. But once you have that, you have the name on it, and you have the dates, it's there.
Yeah. And it's actually set in stone, right?
And it's set
in stone.
And so, when she said that, I showed her the picture, and then everybody started chiming in. And it's just like, no matter what you're going through throughout the week, when you come together, everybody, one person's story becomes everybody's, yep, I'm dealing with the same exact thing. And we are able to help each other through. And it's so funny because we all say that it's like our church. And we're not trying to replace church, but it's like we have this craving to be around each other that one time each week, just to get some of that energy, that love, that compassion, that support.
That love.
Yes. And it seems to last. Actually, no, that's not true, because now we went from being a group of people who didn't know each other. There was one person that knew all of us, but the rest of us didn't know each other, to now we're all calling each other throughout the week. Yeah. And we go out to dinner, or we go out for coffee, or we go, we just get together. So, right. And it's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And it's all supportive. It's not my loss is any worse than yours, or, it's not I'm grieving any more than, it's just all supportive.
I think I hear two different things when you say that. I think, how long ago did you go to the
Maurice died in 2000. I want to say 2007 or 2008. I can't remember. Oh, he died 17 years ago. So whatever time that is.
Okay. So you're also dealing, I'm going to assume that they were like mostly people of color and it was a little bit back, right? And people don't seek therapy. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know how to process it, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know how old the group was, but I think that like everyone's feeling this emptiness, but not knowing how to fill each other up. So they felt like my emptiness is way more emptier than yours. And it was like, I hurt way more than you because this happened to me. And fast forward to now, right? I am assuming that everyone's a little bit older.
Yeah.
More people have sought therapy from then to here. Mm-hmm. Processing looks smoother. Mm. And everyone understands at this age that people are hurting. Mm-hmm. I say all that just to say that time really gives people, and therapy actually gives people tools that they don't know that
they're getting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think like I'm sorry that like you had to go through all that, but I think that it kind of helped you prepared for this loss a little bit.
Absolutely. I say that all the time, and I say that to anyone that'll listen to me. I honestly believe that God had me go through the loss of my mother-in-law, Noah's mom, who died from cancer, dealing with all of that situation, and then going through the loss of Maurice, who I thought I was going to die. Mm-hmm. I thought I was going to die. Going through the loss of Noah Jr., which was devastating. Mm-hmm. But he had going through the loss of my mom, and Noah and I both were there at the end of her life, and he was able to see how I handled it, prayerfully with grace. Yes. But, he was able to see how I did that, and he knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that when his time came, he wanted me there with him.
Yeah.
And then going through that, I had all of these stepping stones that I was able to utilize when I went through this loss with Noah, even though still naively I felt like we still had 5 years. I just even when they told me 12 months, I still, they're always telling you a shorter period of time, and people are always living past. His mother, she had like 8 years or something like, I don't know, I think she had 4. She had so many years, and she lived well beyond that. So in my mind, they're wrong.
Yeah.
It's
in the genes. Doctor said this. I saw his mom do it.
And then when it came down to it, and he was literally here actively dying, and I'm like going nuts in the hospice. People are telling me, well, he is actively dying, and I'm like, no, he has more time, he has, and it's so disheartening because he started to cry, and I said, oh my God, he's crying, Noah, what's wrong? Why are you? And the man on the phone said, Marsha, cut it out. He's crying because he knows what's happening, and he knows there's nothing he can do about it, and he knows there's no way that he can help you through it. Mm. And all I could say was, it's okay, Noah. It's okay. It's okay, Noah. We'll be okay. Mm. We got this. And just stare into his eyes, because he was staring. He chose the last few minutes of his life to stare into my eyes.
Yeah.
And that was just so incredibly beautiful. He took the last little bit of strength he had, knowing he was dying.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can think of? No?
That's funny. I shared a lot today.
You did. We'd like to thank Tameka Bennet for coming today, being unapologetically open
Thank you.
and sharing her grief journey with us after losing a very, very, very close friend, her son's father.
Mm-hmm.
It was a while ago. The journey is ongoing. And what I get from it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I get from it is that she tried to go on with life and ignoring the grieving process. And here it is 14 years later.
Yes.
And it's still coming at her. And now she's decided to deal with it and as best as she can. And that is commendable, because some of us end up having to go on drugs seriously and get serious psychoanalysis because we choose not to deal with stuff, and then it starts tearing our bodies apart. And we don't understand what's wrong, but we've chosen not to deal with the grief that we're going through.
I'm gonna jump in there. Sorry.
Sure.
I had shingles last year.
See?
That's what it was, and that made
Stress.
me look at it made me look at everything different. So that was like, girl, something you gotta. Yeah.
There's a change that needs to be made.
Yeah.
There's a change that needs to be
That
made.
needs-
There's something, because that stress will bring them on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, listen, this girl has opened up to and I'm so proud of her for deciding on her best way to move forward, which is to get help with this grief journey. Tameka, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for contacting me and saying that you would do this. Thank you so much for just sharing. My God, it's just incredible. All the stuff.
Yeah.
You not only shared with us what you're going through, but I mean, I'm going to tell you, every time you opened your mouth, it resonated with me. So if it doesn't help anybody else, it definitely helped me. But I do hope that someone is able to identify with Tameka, and not only identify with her, but to realize that they're not alone. They're not alone out here, that other people are going through what they're going through, and that all they need to do is, like she said, find those few people who are able to be the support that you need them to be, and not put all of your grief journey on them and make it their responsibility, but incorporate them into your life so that they can help you get through this grieving process. And if you need to, send me an instant message. I hope that I'm a good listener. I hope that I can help you. That's this episode. Thank you so much for viewing us or hearing us. And if you like what you're hearing, please like this episode. If it's something that you want to continue to listen to or to see, hit subscribe. Please leave us a comment letting us know how we are doing. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.